Welcome to the Countdown to Halloween. The Countdown to Halloween is a phantasmagorical march straight to the holiest of holy days, Halloween. I'm Dynamo Mars, the whiskey-drinking father of all that's funky. I am joined by the pencil pusher, king of all media for the Deadites, Johnny Wolfenstein.
That's me, folks. What's up? Happy Halloween!
Johnny Wolfenstein, you sit down.
Yes.
To watch Night Train to Terror.
Ooh, yeah.
It's late night.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, what I do is I pretend I'm Raven Shadow.
Okay.
And I think to myself, I'm gonna watch this movie. I'm really gonna watch this movie. And then I pour myself a drink. Mm-hmm. And then I take a small pizza after stirring the sauce. And I take that pizza and I rub it all over my body.
Wow.
All over my body. And I keep 2 slices right on my nipples.
I'm with you so far.
And then I take that drink and I pour it out. Because I don't drink.
That's true. I was worried about that.
And then I strap on, but I don't watch. I watch the first third of the movie. And then I pass out like Raven Shadow.
Well, in that case, I'll have to see you on the other side then.
All right. Let's see you on this side.
Listen to them, children of the night. What music they make.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but 2 things right now. Jack and shit. And Jack left town.
Okay, you'll flip you. Do what? Flip you. Flip you for real. Y'all think us folks from the country's real funny like, don't you, Jerry? Hello from you, Ma. I'm Mr. Britt. I've got to give me some education, Jerry. You
ass. Death is a bitch. A stupid bitch.
What's up, y'all? This is Dynamo Mars.
And I am here with a plea.
Yes.
To my friends over at Vinegar Syndrome. And they're great guys. You and I have spent some time with some of the proprietors of those.
We've broke bread, you would say.
Yeah, with, in my opinion, no disrespect to Scream Factory, or Cream Factory.
Or Cream Factory. They make some hella good ice cream.
Yeah, certainly no disrespect to Cold Stone. They also make ice cream.
They're expensive.
No disrespect to Carvel or any of them or any of the other great boutique video labels like Scream Factory, who, I love. In fact, I was joking the other day to our dear friend Michael Neal that on my Blu-ray shelf in 2016, since my own personal 9/11, was all I have, I think, is Scream Factory and Vinegar Syndrome Blu-rays. But, so I have a plea.
Yep.
I bought from you.
Yeah.
Not you, Johnny Wolfenstein.
No, not me.
Vinegar Syndrome,
yeah.
right? The Dolomite collection, this past Rock and Shock. And I also picked for you something you released a bit ago, Madman, which I would have thought was, like sort of almost too mainstream for you guys.
Yeah, that would have been more for Cream Factory.
Yeah, so my plea to you, Vinegar Syndrome, if you're listening, Margaret, if you're listening, is to tell you that please do not. I don't care if you get the license to Star Wars. I wish you and your label all the success in the world because I truly love it. I'm truly behind it. But please do not stop releasing lost gems. Please do not stop pillaging the bottom of garbage bins, the bottom of the trash dumps of the wasted, forgotten VHS era films for gems like Raw Force, Kung Fu Cannibal, Raiders of the Jade Temple, and the film we're talking about this week, Night Train to Terror.
Yeah.
Night Train to Terror tells the story of God, the God, and the devil, Beelzebub, Bub.
They were very interesting folks, I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. To kind of set the scene, you were 100% correct when you said that the architect from the Matrix sort of copped something from God in
Yes.
in this film. But they're traveling on a train, which they state early is on a collision course with mayhem.
Yeah.
On this train is a porter who looks like a zombie, and is kind of the typical Poverty Row era extra African American character that you would see in, like, being a train porter in films in the 30s and 40s and really up to the 50s. Like, all aboard that's coming aboard. Pushing the snap around, and but this one puts out swarmy one-liners. Now, I can't tell if he is dead or he just wishes to be dead, because the only apparent passengers on this train are a band. Now, this band doesn't...
awesome band.
Yeah, they don't necessarily play any... They play a song all the time, seemingly continuously, and they don't actually play. They are just like a montage of the members who look like extras from the film Breakin', swaying back and forth like the like power chorus at the end of a hair metal video.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're all shoulder to shoulder, swaying back and forth, so looking in the camera. Or Journey in the One Day Love Will Find You.
Yes.
That song, that video where they're on the docks. It looks like that, but occasionally someone will stroll by with a guitar on. Somebody walked by a drums. There's actually a girl who is standing up playing a tom and a ride cymbal. But that's really the only one playing any instruments, which is ironic because this is obviously a early drum machine. But this band, I can imagine, after having the porter travel through this montage to get back to God and the Devil's exclusive car, has to be going nuts because he continuously has to walk through this montage of this band, which seems to have about, as of my last count, 25 unique members.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what they all play. If some were dancers, they were all dancers, I'm not sure. But they just played the same song over and over and over. Now, the premise of this film, which is actually kind of clever, I thought, is that God and the devil are having a discussion about humanity and its faults and its pitfalls, and they use this opportunity, or the filmmakers use this opportunity, to show us a series of three short films that they hammered into this anthology thing, and they at the end of each short film kind of deal who gets whose soul. Now, I don't have the names of these in front of me because I'm doing this episode from my cell phone, and my notes are on my cell phone, and I'm talking into it, so I can't read.
Mm-hmm.
But the first episode is about a man who's driving with his new bride, and he's loaded, and he drives off a bridge, and his bride dies, and he finds himself in a sanitarium.
Yeah.
And then I'm not fucking positive at all what happens.
I can tell you what happens.
Yeah, okay, go.
So, Bull from Night Court loves rape.
Yeah, that does happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes Bull from Night Court is the protagonist, and sometimes he's not.
Yep.
And I thought that Bull from Night Court was a manifestation of the antagonist's defense system to look in the mirror and think he wasn't doing this, until Bull from Night Court and the protagonist have a fight later on in the episode.
Yeah, and something amazing happens at that point.
Yeah, just one thing. But actually, there's something kind of amazing before that, because Bull not only is rapey, he also dismembers people. And the reason that it turns out he is dismembering these people is that the sanitarium is kidnapping people and selling them to body farms or something.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But
Well, there's good money in that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and there's also some subplot where a main doctor is killing off the other doctors, and I don't really know it. And this doesn't fall together anyway, and it's a freaking disaster. And I really had low hopes for this thing. So.
Yeah, the one thing I want to point out too, and like I said, I only saw the first short in this, and I saw obviously the opening, the rapper, and this definitely shows the inequities of Hollywood at this era, because I hate to say it, but all the minorities are servants in this film.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Later on,
at least what I saw.
Later on, it's mostly just Sans.
It's like
anyone
that.
But
it's like that guy. What can I do for you, Mr. Satan? Like.
Oh yeah.
It's,
yeah. Well, that guy is definitely playing, like I said, a kind of typical cliche poverty row character.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Characters were portrayed in that right up to things like, and excuse me, listeners, if I'm messing up my movies, but like right up to like Spider Baby.
Yeah.
And that was very, very late in the cycle, in one of the transitional films into what we know as like modern horror. But it was bad, and it was really strangely like I think because it was an anthology movie, they were trying to go for a retro thing, but at the same time, it had all the really we'll say fun for argument's sake depravity that the best films of this time had, with lots of nudity and some gore of varying degrees. But the story in this, while should have been pretty linear, even with the harebrained conceit of what they would do, it didn't make any sense. So that one was definitely a trick.
Yeah.
The second one was... Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on the second one. So I'll skip this when I go back to the third one. The third one was far most ambitious one, and by far the most interesting one, and the best one. And that is the story of basically a detective who finds himself embroiled in a murder mystery involving a group of corpses that end up with 666s branded on them.
Yeah.
And the players in this are, again, Bull from Night Court, who plays kind of a Scientology-like cult leader. He's got an amazing wig in this, and his whole conceit of his book is there is no God and there is no devil.
Yeah.
An old Jewish man who survived the concentration camps, and Bull from Night Court's wife, who is somehow the link to this and enthralled in this situation, and a 3,000-year-old man who looks like a little bit like Danny Havoc and a little bit like alleged, they think 3,000-year-old as when they count, but the reason the Jewish man recognizes him is that he was a head Nazi in the concentration camp at the time, and he hasn't aged a day. And he also looks a little bit like what's his name from My Chemical Romance, that Gerard Way. He's that kind, Jack Whitish. So this all unfolds with a $100 million quasi-noir, sometimes Dan Brownish, very Sentinel-like at time, story of this woman's this woman's strange dreams and her pull to this exotic, rich, wealthy ne'er-do-well who happens to the people think that he is the detective, and the detective is trying to very least prove that he is at the heart of these murders. His old friend thinks that he's a Nazi, and it's all very interesting and all very engaging. And it's kind of $100 million movie with a $1.50 plot, well, a $1.50 budget. And there are a couple of plot threads that kind of pull it in visitor territory. There's like an old monk who is just showing up and he's trying to save everyone.
Yep.
And he's really bad at it.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. I think the only pitfall of this particular one is that there is a couple of claymation monsters in it that look more like Gumby claymation, and when there's a human in it getting killed, the human looks like a Peanuts character. It doesn't look like a realistic, like a Ray Harryhausen. It looks like a cartoony, silly Peanuts character. So you'll see the character recoil in terror as some Lovecraftian terror is moving towards him, and then it will cut and it will look like a cartoon of him getting dragged down to hell or torn apart or whatever else. And,
Yep.
that was pretty awesome, but obviously for kind of frustrating because this particular segment could have been interesting in its own right. It had elements of mystery, it had elements of intrigue, it had elements of like a 70s supernatural, like The Exorcist or Damien. It felt a lot like harken back to those, but those claymation really in the same way bad CGI sci-fi effects will take you out of a movie. It was the same thing. It was just ridiculous. But unlike those, this was so bad, it was good. And I feel terrible. It's been a long day. I'm at a loss totally. I've forgotten.
Well, the other one was The Case of Harry Billings. I don't know if that rings a bell.
And the third one was like a girl's name. What are can you tell me the three names?
Yeah, so there's the first one. Oh, sorry. The first one is Harry Billings.
Right.
The second one was Greta Connors.
What's the third one called?
Case of Greta Connors, and then the third one was The Case of Claire Hansen.
So Claire Hansen, right.
I think that was the third one.
Wife.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. So I literally am totally embarrassed and am drawing like this super huge block of what that second story is about.
It must have been amazing.
Well, here's the thing. I remember saying like it was a big up in quality. Like they definitely went up and up and up. But it obviously wasn't that memorable. I can't fucking believe that. I can't remember what it is at all.
I'm gonna open it up right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. But I mean,
so the second one I'm seeing right now, it looks like there's a woman who is either naked or almost naked in bed with some dude. I just skipped ahead to that. And then I've skipped ahead a little further. They're all around a table.
The second one was awesome. Okay, I'm there.
Okay, good.
So the second one, this girl is kind of like just a kind of vagabond, ne'er-do-well, trying to get her shit together, and she marries a wealthy man who says that he could help her be a musician, but he basically just kind of like uses her and lets her play piano in a seedy bar, and then kind of abuses her and whores her out, and she falls in love with a regular at one of these clubs. So not to be spurned, her lover, a husband, or whatever they end up being, ends up kidnapping them both, and he runs a death club. Not DEF, but not the Def Jam Comedy Club, but a club where they basically members are
not DETH like a Megadeth club, right?
No.
Okay.
The members are dwindling, right?
Yeah.
And because each meeting and the musician and her husband or boyfriend, her beau, and are captured by her. I don't think they were married, but like her keeper, her benefactor, and forced to play games along with these guys. And they include things like a thing called a death machine, which shocks people with 1 million volts.
Yep.
In a game of Russian roulette. And there's also another game of Russian roulette that involves a ridiculously stated weight wrecking ball.
Okay.
And which is funny, and the whole time I'm trying to remember what this fucking movie was, all I had was that fucking song stuck in my head.
Oh, God, yeah.
The wrecking ball, you come away. Yeah, like, so now I've sussed that out. But, like, that was the worst block ever. And, you know, like, the everyone dies and dies and dies over again until an inevitable confrontation with a bitter benefactor and the girl in her would-be savior, and it's really cool. It's really interesting. I think where this one benefits from the rest is that, is it high concept as it is, it doesn't really like it doesn't do anything too supernaturally. And it doesn't try to do anything where it's messing with time or anything like that, like the first one.
Yeah.
So it just sticks to what it does good, which is naked and gore. And that's like where this film is like excelling.
It's got some crazy fly in it or something.
Oh, yeah. People getting squished by wrecking balls. And so I would say that this one's a treat. The third one is thoroughly a treat, if even if the special effects don't necessarily catch up with the high concept story. And it's terrific. And I think that what's important to remember when you're talking about a film like this, right? Like, this is not Shawshank Redemption. It's not. It's not Miller's Crossing. It's not even the high end of horror, like The Thing or Dawn of the Dead or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is, bad by every calculable way that you could rate this.
Yeah.
Well, with the exception of gore and some very lovely women, but who are not afraid to show what they had going down, whether by own design or the grabby palms of Bull from
Night Court. Yeah.
But if you, and I think I spoke a little bit about this when I reviewed Raw Force, if you're willing to kind of give yourself over to what this film is, you could enjoy it, and you could have a really good time with it. If you're like me, built by Force, the Cult of Muscle guys, El Goro, and our ilk, and you and I, and can enjoy this, Tiny White, another great example, can enjoy something like this, there is a lot of enjoyment to be had.
Yeah.
But if you're one of those people, and I don't mean to pick on our younger friends, but I find this in a lot of our younger friends, whose expectations of, they don't get the irony of the shortcomings of these films. They just see the bad, and they also, because of the bad, don't see the heart that was put into them. Yep. You know what I mean? Because a film like this had no way to make a lot of money. There was no delivery method for such a thing. So this was definitely made of someone's love. Maybe someone that was inept, but you know what? Ed Wood was inept.
It had every intent of being a good film. That's right. That's the thing. They didn't set out to make a bad film. Someone really poured their heart and soul into this and wanted to make a great film. Yep. Right,
and like I told Monster Zero, this movie is if some really great writer wrote an anthology film, and it got bought by somebody that had never directed a movie, and they used all their money to buy the script.
Yeah.
So I didn't delve too much in the background of it, not because I didn't care about the research, but just because and not that I don't think it warranted it. I'm not being snobby like that, but it's just a matter of much like what was the movie I talked with Franco Nero was Jesus. Not The Visitor.
That's it. The Visitor.
Yeah. Much like that, I am happy that this film exists as an oddball cinematic oddity, straddling that gray area between, do-it-yourself direct-to-video world of the Nail Gun Massacre and The Dead Next Door, and real live high concept 80s cinema.
Yep.
And I just think that it's really a gem. And Vinegar Syndrome once again made this look beautiful. This sounds beautiful. It's got some pretty decent special features on it, but not as good. They would definitely up their game later on as they got to some of their later releases. But, you know, initially, you know, they did their due diligence, and these things looked really great. You know, and it's not like anyone was around to really chat a lot about Night Train to Terror. But,
Right.
yeah. So, this is a definite treat, but, you know, it's for connoisseurs of crap like me. And I always find myself insulted by my own caveats of these films, because I want to be clear that it's not good, but it is. Folks, this film isn't good, but this film is great. In the same way that Don't Look Now was not good, but that film was great.
Yeah.
You know, and while
it's fun.
this isn't, yeah,
it's entertaining.
And it's not quite as charming as, say, Miami Connection. The sleaze kind of washes that away, but this is worth it. And thank you so much for taking this journey with me again. And hopefully next year I'll be able to get my shit together and get it going for reals again. And thank you so much for putting up with my uneducated rambling. Thank you to you, Johnny Wolfenstein, for producing these.
Of course, man.
And thank you to El Goro for letting me wholesale steal his idea and do it in the total antithesis of what El Goro is. So, you know, and thank you to everybody else. And what I want you to do today is go out and if you love someone, tell them you love them. Soak in that autumn air, and no matter what happens tomorrow, let that be tomorrow, because today is Halloween.
Absolutely.
And I'll see you all next year.
All right. See ya. Happy Halloween, everyone.